ask you something. Have you ever walked into a family gathering feeling good and walked out feeling emotionally drained, confused, or even small? So let's talk about it. This week on Girl Talk Mental Health, the therapist takeover, I have a special guest, Miss Shanika Torres, and she's going to expose what's really happening in those moments and how to finally protect your peace. So let's welcome Miss Shanika to the show.
Thank you, thank you. So happy to be here. And I'm just gonna make a quick little adjustment. Is Shanika like Hanukkah?
Oh, Shanika. Well,
Shanika.
thank you, child, because I will mess her name up in a minute, okay? And I might mess it up all through Shanika. That's cute. See that? See, I have these names, baby. They be cute, and you can't even pronounce them cute. See that?
Shanika. But you know what? But my family calls me Nikki, so I'm gonna let you call me Nikki.
Okay, Nikki, that's very easy, much
I,
easier for
I,
you.
I know,
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Shanika, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, hello. My name is Shanika Torres, but since we're in an intimate space, I'm gonna let you guys call me Nikki because we talk about family, and my family calls me Nikki. So, uh, you know, being able to talk about family it's a very important topic to me because I honestly I became a therapist, a licensed therapist, because of the family dynamics that I grew up in, and I was really just trying to understand family for myself. And then I was like, oh, I think I can go to school and do this. And so, and that's what brought me to where I am present day. I'm a licensed professional counselor and couples and family therapist. I am the owner of Del Torres Behavioral Health and Wellness, which is a private practice currently expanding into a group practice. I do specialize in working with individuals, and actually, my family work came out of my work with individuals, where a lot of people were seeing me in individual therapy for either relationship issues or family issues. And so, when I was thinking about how can I better support these individuals, I was like, I need to go back to school and get some more education, and that's what brought me to my PhD, which I'm finishing this summer in couples and
Okay.
family therapy. And so one of the things I specialize in is helping individuals, couples, families navigate relationships, communication, and just patterns that they are essentially trying to break. Especially the ones that we grew up with that we don't always recognize started in those early childhood experiences. And so once I help people understand, like, this didn't just come out of nowhere, you're not like this for no reason, then I can help them move forward from there. So awareness, right? Growth often starts with awareness, and that's what I usually help people begin to unpack. So yeah, it's at the core of what I do, and I come at it from a very authentic, like, this is me as a therapist, but also I've been there, so I didn't just go to school for this. Like, this is part of something I had to grow through myself.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm here.
Right. That's actually kind of like where the purpose comes from the things that you've been through yourself. And I want you to thank you for welcoming us to your family and letting us call you Nikki.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so Shanika, I'm gonna use that because I like it. I learned it, I learned that. I'm about to use that day. So
Yeah,
are you ready to dive into this conversation?
let's do this. Let's do this. So the next cookout you go to, you can be prepared.
Okay, okay. Be aware and ready for the cook-off. You don't have to leave early, or you can set those boundaries, whichever one you need to do, so you can have a good time at the family cookout.
Aware and prepared. That's what we're gonna roll with.
So tell us, why do family gatherings trigger emotions that we don't feel anywhere else?
I feel like our families are the one group of people that see us outside of who we've tried to present ourselves to the world, right? Because we have who we present to the world, and then we have people that know us, which are our family, right? So it doesn't matter how many degrees you get, to somebody, you're just gonna be little Nikki, from the block, right? Not that I grew up on the block. I don't want to embellish my struggles or anything. Like, I mean, we did okay. But somebody is going to always try to humble you, I feel like, and in the family spaces where we have our outside of our family, we do a very good job of being intentional about, like, how we show up and how we connect people. But I feel like our family doesn't always see that growth and evolution. It's like a parent who sees their child every day, and when a family member or somebody else sees them that hasn't seen them in a while, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this kid is growing like weeds," and the parent is like, "Really? I didn't even notice."
Right.
I feel like your family is very similar to that, in that no matter what you've done to evolve yourself, they bring back those old things within you that I feel like sometimes is rooted in shame. Like, I don't like who I was in the past, or maybe I had anger problems when I was younger, but I'm not that person anymore,
Right.
or got into trouble, and now they're still calling me, Trouble Trisha. And it's like, this Trouble Trisha then got herself, away from situations, no longer in trouble. But what do people do? They bring you right back to that place that you're trying to move past. And I think that's why family gatherings for a lot of people, it's like, ooh, what am I going to get? How am I going to feel? It makes people very tense, and they don't often
Mhm.
look forward to going into family settings. That's why people say,
Yeah. Because won't they do it too? They'll, and especially if you like a therapist. Oh, you the therapist. Shouldn't you help such and such? Oh, you the therapist. You shouldn't get mad. You're the therapist. Aren't you supposed to be so positive and this and that? Look, we at the family cook-off. I am who I am. Can I be me? Can I be, can I relax and just enjoy the moment? You have to keep throwing up. Like, they don't know how to separate it. Like, can you separate it? My profession and my professional and my personal life are two separate things, okay?
absolutely, absolutely. And we have to remember that our family is our blueprint, right? Like, so how you relate to other people is often rooted in like what you saw growing up, and how you were with your family. So I think when it comes to, especially if you've developed healthier ways of communicating, and as adults, we tend to be more intentional about the people we bring into our lives. You can't choose your family though. So when we go back to these family situations where people may not have the emotional evolution of who we have intentionally selected to be in our life, it can feel like you're going back into the Stone Ages. Like, oh, I have to, like, keep my emotions at bay, or not say anything, as a way of, because I can't have a logical conversation with an emotional person. So in a way, you unintentionally keep certain cycles going, because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to protect my peace by not speaking up. But when you're in reality, you are only perpetuating the very cycle, because people are like, oh yeah, that's what I thought, don't say nothing. It's like,
You said a mouthful with that emotional evolution, because they just don't understand it, because some people can't adapt to change. And if you are a person that's used to growth, and usually that's what the problem is, the person that's used to growth versus the person who's stuck in the old family cycle or whatever, is that conflict. And it's just so uncomfortable, because look, I've worked hard to move past this stuff. And you keep, every time I try to just be me and enjoy the moment, you want to bring me through the mud again of what used to be these family cycles and stuff that I've worked so hard to break and to get away from. So it is a very uncomfortable feeling, and it will trigger you, and you
mm-hmm.
will go off all the time. So how do those childhood roles, like, sometimes we would have to be the strong one, we had to be the peacemaker, and we kind of evolved into that, like you said, into our adult career. So how did that does that follow us into our adult family dynamics?
Yeah, like, I think it's understanding, one of the analogies that I like to use, and I actually have this little, this, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's actually a tree. And I always explain to people, like, we are like trees, and the trunk represents us as the person, but the roots are everything that pours into us as the person. And then those branches are every facet of our life. So what does that look like? Well, if you grew up in a household where children were to be seen and not heard, so
Hmm.
you learn to not speak up for yourself. Learn, don't talk back, right? Like, you can't even say, well, can I understand why you're saying this? Not that you aren't going to conform. So when you think about growing up in a household like that, where you weren't able to speak up or advocate, then you become an adult who doesn't speak up or advocate. So what does that look like in the relationship space? You people please, or you hold things in until you get to a point that you are basically resentful. Same thing in the career space. You take on too many obligations, you don't have healthy boundaries, so now you're overwhelmed and overloaded because you don't know how to say no, because you never learned it in those early childhood experiences. So you see how it all kind of just cycles.
Hmm.
Relationships aren't just our romantic ones or our friendships. It's relationships are every time we're connected to other people, we are engaging in a type of a relationship.
Hmm. So it has you like overprotective, like everything is over the top. You can't be normal, you can't be baseline. you have to overdo everything to try to, to, I guess, sensationalize that childhood role that you now trying to like balance as an adult, but it's kind of hard because it's always following you. And not to mention you already triggered at the family barbecue. So now you have to heal all over again just to go back into your role in your adulthood. So yeah, those are some very tricky dynamics going on there.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
and what really happens for people is they don't recognize how certain dynamics in their environment outside of the family are actually replaying or recreating those very same roles. So if you have a boss who talks down to you and doesn't make you feel heard or respected or anything like that, that may be reflected of your mom or your dad or somebody else in your life who also made you feel that way. And
Mhm.
so when we really look at it that way, it's almost like I can't escape it. So it's no wonder, your people may often feel stuck because it's like, dang, I can't even get away from it in the work environment. Me going back
Mhm.
home is not a good feeling for me. So I tell people, if you are going to go back into a family space, it's not important to just like go there. It's important to be emotionally prepared because
Mhm.
you are already saying, if this situation arises, how am I going to you are already preparing on how to protect yourself. So we can talk about those things that we can do to kind of protect ourselves in a bit, but yeah. Hmm.
So for the people that don't know and they have a problem with thinking that there's a plethora of relationships. So besides family relationships, what are some other relationships that affects our life or like family relationships can affect in addition to the family role?
Yeah, I think most intimately our romantic relationships. We think about like our partners and the relationship dynamics that we have or try to grow in the dating space or the marriage or couple space. So when you have, let's say, we know that attachment, and here we're getting into some attachment science theory stuff here. We How we connect with people is rooted in those early childhood experiences, but it's not always rooted in childhood experiences. You can have a very healthy family dynamic, and it's your early romantic relationships that shift, some of that. And so if you notice you have a tendency to cut people off, that might be rooted in what we call an avoidant attachment style, which
Mhm.
basically means I'm going to hurt you before you have a chance to hurt me. So how
Yeah.
does it show up in the dating space? Well, if I start seeing somebody and they say they're going to call me and they don't, I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. I'm not here for the games. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was working. I pulled a double shift. I went to sleep. But you are already thinking the worst, so you cut that relationship off. What about the friendship space? How many times has a friend, that you had an event and your friend didn't show up to it and you cut them off, not realizing, okay, well, maybe they, were under a work deadline, or maybe they were experiencing their own mental, challenges, but you don't even give them the space to have a conversation about what their absence meant. So you create a story in your mind and you cut them off. When it comes to, even in workplace environments, maybe you're more rigid. People are trying to get to know you. So, hey, what's your story? And you're like, there's no story to tell. What are you, a news reporter? Like, you're like, you're gonna write a book, like you cut people off, not even understanding what they're trying to do is connect. So that is essentially how that family dynamic begins to weed and really just like seep like a toxic,
Poison.
like poison, right? But more, you know what? I might even say not even poison, like a virus, right?
Mm.
Have a healthy cell, which, let's say you partner with somebody who they have a really good understanding of how to communicate and things like that, and your unhealthy ways are now starting to impact them. Now they're shutting down. Now they're taking longer to call you back because they're matching energy, and people have to remember energy goes both ways. So if you think everybody is like your family, well, guess what? You're probably going to get more people that show up that way because of some of the things you're doing to recreate those kind of role play storylines.
That is so, so good. So I think this is a great point to have a quick commercial break or whatever. And for the viewers, I want you to comment and tell us in the comment, what is one thing your family does that trigger you the most? And think about that, put it in the comment, and we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
You weren't meant to break. You were set apart. What if your deepest pain was the birthplace of your greatest purpose? Meet Gingerbread, a child caught in the chaos of her mother's depression and suicide attempts. She never asked for trauma, shame, or to feel invisible, but she found something greater. Set Apart, the journey to find hope through loneliness, shame, and death is more than a book. It's the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. If you've ever said, "I'm fine," when you were falling apart. If you've ever thought, "This story isn't for me," it is. Don't let fear, excuses, or busyness rob you of healing. This book will shatter the silence, stir your soul, and remind you, you were never forgotten. You were set apart. Set Apart, the journey to find hope in times of shame, loneliness, and death, by author Virginia Dale Manning. Available now, because hope can't wait.
Okay, welcome back. We have our family member, Miss Nikki, here, and she has been giving us a plethora of tips and tools of how you can handle those toxic family situations. So next, the next thing I want to think about is, how at the family gathering or whatever they like, why she in her feelings? Get out of your feelings. Like you always in your feelings. Well, you made me get in my feelings first of all. But what's the difference between being too sensitive and being emotionally triggered?
Yeah, I think someone being labeled as too sensitive is other people's way of not necessarily having the bandwidth or the emotional capacity to really understand what is causing the sensitivity, right? I tell people it's the difference between asking the why and asking the what. When you ask somebody why are you so sensitive, it's accusatory, but it's also labeling, and it doesn't usually allow people to feel comfortable opening up, right? It's almost like implying what's wrong with you. And so when you ask somebody instead what may be contributing to their sensitivity, now you're getting to the understanding or the root of it. Well, what may be contributing is I don't feel like I'm hurt in this family, or I don't feel like this is a safe space for me. Now we can have some dialogue, because now I'm better understanding, hopefully, right? Hopefully they're better understanding like what may be going on, and they're having a deeper discussion. But essentially when we have like these labels, to this or to that, it's someone else's limitation that is being projected. Basically they're saying I don't have the ability to understand your emotions or deal with your emotions, so you're too much for me. But that person's to this is somebody else's you good.
Hmm.
So understanding who you may need to kind of create a little distance around, especially if you keep being put these these labels that make you feel like there's something wrong with you. And when we think about these labels of too sensitive, let's say there is something that's contributing to the sensitivity. What's really going on, right? If we're looking at like the way that our nervous system is broken down, or the way that our brain kind of processes things, the center of our brain, the limbic system, which is our emotional control center, is being fired. There's something about this environment or this person or this dynamic that is really firing up my sensory realm of my brain, and I don't feel safe.
Hmm.
So when people are too sensitive, they're either in fight, flight, or freeze, right? So if they shut down, someone's like, "Oh man, don't tell me you got upset about that." Yeah, there's something about you that didn't make me feel safe. So that shutting down might be the freezing, or there's something, or I want to leave. You know what? I'm good. I'm gonna go. That's our sensory system saying, I don't feel safe in this environment. Or
Hmm.
maybe we fight, right? I'm about to go back and forth with you, because I'm not just going to let you talk to me anyway. Either way, the same thing is happening. We are being our nervous system is being triggered, and it's important to pay attention to that, and also realize who brings you peace, and who also brings you discomfort is important.
Hmm. And then the other layer, that other emotional layer, is feeling guilty. So why do so many people feel guilty? Especially if you're the strong one and you're the peacemaker, then you go home and you think about it like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have did it this way, or maybe I shouldn't have set that boundary with those family members. But why do so many people feel that way, and even when they know it's necessary to even set those boundaries?
Conditioning. Think about it. You grew up in a household day in day out that told your feelings don't matter, you're not important. Over time you are conditioned to believe that that is the case. So when we don't speak up for ourselves, or when we don't push back against those things, or we let people walk all over us, it's because we've been conditioned to do so. The thing about conditioning, though, is you can be reconditioned. Hello.
Okay.
So the fact that we can be reconditioned means we don't have to stay there. Just because we may feel stuck there, we don't have to stay there. And this is where we have to switch from disempowering thinking, where we feel like, woe is me, I can't do this, I'm stuck, my family's going to make me feel bad, they're going to guilt trip me. Okay, well, that is a possibility, but if you continue allowing that dynamic to go on, nothing changes. So we can focus on what is not within our control, or we can focus on what is within our control. And that's when we navigate to the empowered thinking. Empowered thinking says, I don't feel good in this dynamic. However, I'm going to speak up for myself, or I'm going to tell somebody that's not okay. I tell people don't set when people don't set boundaries, it's not because they don't want to. It's because I don't think it's just a loyalty thing. It's the conditioning, but also we don't have the language to do so in a way that doesn't come across as rude.
Uh,
So me saying, somebody saying, oh, so what's good, like you seeing somebody, you're gonna settle down, you're gonna, right, the questions about like our relationship dynamic. But what if you are a person who is not out to your family, and they always ask them when you're gonna bring somebody around, and you know that that's not a safe space for you, do so. Well, being able to say, I'm not comfortable sharing that with you, and then
right.
walking away. People, that's not rude. I'm not comfortable sharing with you. Yeah, that's not something I'm going to talk to you about.
Mhm.
Yeah. How's your kids doing in school? Switch the subject. We
Yeah.
don't have to engage in every conversation we're invited to.
And of course, they might get mad because you're not giving them the gossip that they want or whatever. But that's not a you problem. That's a them problem.
Absolutely, absolutely, and remembering that is, we can only focus on what's within our control. We
Mhm.
cannot focus on things outside of our control. We can't control other people's responses to how we set boundaries, or the things we say. But we can choose whether we want to continue sitting there in that discomfort, or if we want to move away. We don't have to leave the function, but that means maybe I'm going to check out the potato salad.
Uh-huh. And who made it? Who made the potato salad?
Okay, exactly. Who made it? And hopefully ain't no raisins.
So speaking of reconditioning and setting some boundaries and things in place, what are the three practical ways someone can protect their peace when they go to their next family gathering without creating some conflict and chaos?
Yeah, I'm really big into like words and rhyming. Shout out to Johnny Cochran, who was the master. If it if it don't fit, must have quit. Know before you go. Know who is going to be the people you want to associate with. Know who you're going to keep a little distance from. So know before you go, and that allows you to set a boundary before you even go in, and you're prepared. Stay neutral. When you give people emotional energy, sometimes that's feeding exactly into what they want. So staying neutral is, yeah, I hear you, and they're like, oh, blah 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 blah. I know, I know, yeah, yeah, that is one thing, right? And because people like to engage in gossip, right? And they want to tell you about so and so's business, and like, oh yeah, yeah, that sounds like they're managing a lot. You don't have to go back and forth. You don't have to be sucked into that thing.
Mhm.
Because then it becomes, oh, you said this about that person. Now you're part of the part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that you can remain neutral, you don't have to, what we call, get emotionally flooded. That's when our emotions get so overwhelmed that we essentially drown, and now we're doing and saying things out of character, or going back to a place that we had promised ourselves we wouldn't go back to, right? That's that emotional evolution we talked about. If I know that this one relative says things and I go ham, salami, and bacon, I'm probably not gonna engage in that person, or I'm gonna have my words ahead of time. Uncle, auntie, titi, like, I could be cordial without being mean, and move around. And I would say also, like, having a sense of self is important before you go. If you know that you are not in a space to be around people, don't feel obligated to put yourself in a situation where you are going to have to spend 2 to 3 days recovering emotionally from that very situation. So give yourself permission to miss out. Give yourself permission to not go. it's okay. There will be other family functions, and if people don't understand because you missed that one family function, well, that's about them. That's not your problem to worry about. Your peace and your mental well being is really what matters the most.
That's some good information. So close us out and let the audience know where they can connect with you at. If you have some type of special offer, let them know all those things about you.
Yeah, so I would on social media. Honestly, I'm on a social media hiatus. I have found social media to not be the healthiest place mentally for a lot of people, including myself. And yet, if you want to connect with me, Del Torres Therapy is my social media handle across all platforms. That's D as in David, EL. My last name T as in Tom, ORRES, Del Torres Therapy. You can find that. I have the Shanika show, Shanika, SHANIKA _show. That platform focuses more on relationship content, dating content. So if dating and relating is your thing, Shanika _show is the platform. But if you're looking at general therapy knowledge, and wanting to connect with me to book a therapy session, I am licensed in the states of Oregon, Texas, Florida, New Mexico, and Virginia. So Del Torres Therapy would probably be the best, as well as deltorres.com, just as it sounds.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. So, viewers, I want you to be honest. Do you feel better or worse after being around your family? Because that means you have some unhealed pain that's being triggered in real time. And I want you to subscribe to Girl Talk Mental Health. I want you to go connect with Shanika. Go to view her show. I'm going to have to check your show out myself. If you want some more real talk, and we will see you next week for another awesome episode of Girl Talk Mental Health.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.